Hello everybody, I am Razorblade Mango, and I'm here today to talk about Nintendo. I rarely ever do videos on Nintendo stuff because, I don't have a Nintendo product. I had a 3DS for a little bit, and then I just got rid of it, and I haven't looked back since. I had a desire to own a Wii U. I really want to own a Wii U, but really what this company has been doing recently, it's just... I'd feel very guilty owning a Wii U at this point, because I feel like I would just be supporting what they're doing. The total ridiculous anti-consumer stuff that they've been pulling I'd feel horrible supporting that. I'd feel horrible shelling over $300 plus tax for a brand spanking Wii U. And I don't care how many great games there are for it. And let me say, there are some pretty awesome games available for the Wii U that you can't get anywhere else. Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros., Bayonetta 2, Super Mario World, and so on. And then upcoming stuff that I really want, like Star Fox and the new Legend of Zelda. I really want... trust me, I really want a Wii U. I really, really want to support this company. But there's just one problem. Nintendo needs a serious reality check. I don't know how they would go about doing that, though. I don't know whether it's you have to fire people at the top. I don't know whether it's they just go bankrupt and someone buys them out. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how they can keep this going and have people be on their side and be successful, especially in this age of the ever-growing YouTube community and the internet. People are not happy, and Nintendo hasn't adapted yet. They really haven't. They haven't adapted since, I don't know, since like the GameCube era, where the GameCube was actually an interesting console that was, completely overshadowed by the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. And then the Wii came out, and while the Wii did sell the most, unfortunately, that was also overshadowed by the rise of the Xbox 360. And now, in this generation as well, it's their third time at bat, and they've hit some home runs, but really, they're not making good stuff in the long run. They're not making good decisions. They're really alienating a lot of people. And it's like they're last. They're really last. Not even the Xbox. They're not even doing as good as the Xbox One, which had a huge, unbelievable negative beginning, which, rightfully so, because it had a lot of DRM crap attached to it, with a lot of anti-consumer policies. But thankfully, Microsoft got their act together and is now putting, hopefully, their best foot forward as far as making the consumers happy and making good games. Eventually, I would like to own an Xbox One. I don't have that game yet. That would make me want to buy it, but there's a really good chance that they might make it in the future and I could own an Xbox One. But as of now, I'm happy with my PS4 and PC, so on. But Nintendo, really, in this day and age, to me, honestly, and I read this really great article, and I forgot by who. I'll have to find it later on and post it in the description box. It was an article titled, "Nintendo needs to wake up and realize that it's a game company." And it detailed all about how... I could pretty much just skip this video and link the article to you guys. And it would pretty much say the exact same thing that I'm going to be saying. But, I am going to add my own little personal opinions in there. And it was detailed how Nintendo feels like Nintendo is just stuck back in an era when we didn't have the internet, when we were still relying on word to mouth, stuff like that, word of mouth press, And it doesn't feel like they're adapting with what's currently going on. And they're doing so in a way that's super negative, but a lot of people are forgiving of it because it's Nintendo's part of Nintendo's quirks and charm, apparently, which I think is a load of crap. So, personally, but it was a really great article. I'll have to find that later on and post it in there. So, one of the ways I feel like Nintendo is just not doing all that well, really, compared to like what PlayStation 4 and Microsoft are doing, is that with the Xbox One, is that number one, their Wii U, their console itself really feels like a backwards system. Where yes, a lot of their games are like matching today's graphical standards, or 1080p 60 frames per second. They look gorgeous. You have no idea how happy I was to see Mario Kart in 1080p 60 frames per second. How awesome it was to play like an 8-player Smash mode in the beautifully rendered HD TV. It was beautiful. But as far as like their online stuff and the way they handled like digital distribution, and especially like their relationship with third-party developers, is that they are really lacking. Is that even like big titans like Ubisoft, EA, and Bethesda, they've jumped ship from Nintendo, and they're just like, no, we're not going to make stuff for the Wii U because Nintendo isn't willing really to work with us on coming to some sort of compromise, whereas Sony and Microsoft are. And I think it was a quote from one of the lead guys at Bethesda that said it best, where it basically said the time for Nintendo to impress us with their ideas with the third-party stuff has come and gone, went away a long time ago, because they weren't willing to come in and sit down and negotiate something with us. They just came in and said, hey, we're making this box, you're going to develop games for it. And they basically just said, like a lot of big companies said, no, we're not going to. Because Nintendo is really stubborn about its third-party stuff. Yes, you had the occasional like third-party stuff. You had Assassin's Creed. You had some of the Batman games for it. You have, I think, like Resident Evil is on there, and some other stuff. But really, when you look at when you walk into any store and you look at the Wii U section, it is microscopic compared to like what Microsoft and Sony are doing. Microsoft and Sony cover like a huge section of any gaming's area, and then you have like this little corner that has Nintendo stuff in it. And admittedly, they're still doing fine. All right, as far as like game sales for their first party stuff, they're doing fine. But in order to have a bright future, they really need to create a strategy that gets on board with third-party developers, and they need to, negotiate. They need to be willing to negotiate with these guys. And if they just keep coming in with, this is our deal, no negotiations, then they're just going to be stuck back to where they were. They're just going to be back at square one again. And they're not going to move forward. Really, there's a reason why the Wii U doesn't have any like Square Enix games, or even like a lot of like Japanese developers just aren't, the exception of course is like Bayonetta 2, because Nintendo picked up the tab for that game. Even like a lot of Japanese developers aren't really working with them, because even they are just like, yeah, we have more of a better relationship with Microsoft than we do with you right now, because Microsoft is willing to hear us out and listen, and we're willing to negotiate. And Microsoft is like not anywhere near as big of a presence in Japan as Nintendo and Sony are, because those are Japan-based companies. But just the way the Wii U is just so lacking in third-party stuff compared to the Xbox One is really astonishing. And the Wii U had a year head start before the PS4 and Xbox One. And it's still not progressing forward. It's really not. Another thing that they could work on is their online stuff. And now one of the more recent articles I've read is that they're like one of their big upcoming like first party titles is Splatoon, which is not going to have voice chat. And the creator of Splatoon, he gave an interesting reason why that is, why there's going to be no voice chat in Splatoon. And it basically just says, like, the internet can be a really ugly place, online communities can be a really ugly place, So we're just gonna remove that ability for people to like talk shit about people and be horrible and mean and racist and misogynistic. And you know what? I agree with him on some points. I agree. Yeah, the internet can be a really ugly place. Online communities can be a really ugly place if you're not careful. And if you don't have a filter, then you're going to be exposed to a lot of horrible people out there that are just fucking with people just because they feel like it and because they can. The problem with that is that since Splatoon is a team-based, I don't want to call it shooter, maybe a team-based, like, painting game, is that there's a lack of communication. So unless you have that person's phone number or like Skype information or FaceTime information, you cannot communicate with your teammates in that game. And that's a huge part of multiplayer games. There is not a single multiplayer like popular multiplayer game out there that doesn't support voice chat, with the exception of maybe Destiny initially with their crap. Call of Duty, Halo, all these like big first-person shooters, they all rely on strategy and team-based. They all rely on voice chat because that's the only way you can communicate with your team. You can't keep messaging each other back and forth about, hey, go here, go there, because that will just slow the whole game. It would just break the whole game. So I can see that as like a major problem with Splatoon, and that's an embodiment of Nintendo's unwillingness to adapt. Because a lot of their online stuff, like their eShop, their digital distribution, it feels like just whatever, just to throw it out there because people demand it. It doesn't feel like something they lovingly crafted to fit the Wii U. It just feels like a half-assed thing. So yeah, I mean, the Wii U is doing fine. Don't make that mistake. And a lot of people are still going, well, if Nintendo isn't careful, they're going to go bankrupt. I don't think so. I honestly don't think Nintendo, unless something serious, like hardcore financial shit goes down with Nintendo, then it's going to be fine. It's going to continue making money. It's going to continue on towards its next console, which is the XD or whatever it's called, which hopefully they don't screw up. But it just feels like a company that is just so far behind as far as like Sony and Microsoft goes. Sony and Microsoft have adapted. They've given us modern items, modern tools to use in our new gaming landscape. But Nintendo, for whatever reason, just refuses to adapt, refuses to progress forward in ways that are like gaming one-on-one. Video 8th generation consoles one-on-one. They just don't do that. It feels like a 7th generation console. And it's just odd to me that the Wii U is considered an 8th generation console when they didn't even have high definition in their stuff until the Wii U came out. That's really odd to me. That like a lot of people love the Wii, but the Wii, like when you look at it and it has a great art style in a lot of its games, the standard definition does not do it any favors when you compare it to the Wii U. So to me, the Wii U, it doesn't feel like a next-gen console. It just feels like a leftover from the last-gen stuff. And even the PS3 even the PS3 has more features than the Wii U. It's more technically robust. It's better, in my opinion. One of the big points with Nintendo also is their really, really just terrible relationship with retailers. Not relationship, but reputation with them. Where they are really, really adamant about making a lot of their products understocked and hard to find. Like, the most recent example, of course, is those amiibos, the insane amiibo fiasco that went down last week. And how they knew, they know from experience, they knew that people want these amiibos. The demand for these amiibos is through the roof and up past the stars. So it puzzles me that they continue to understock retailers. They continue to like just pretend that nothing's going on, pretend that there is no like huge demand for these amiibos. And they just keep on going, hey, retailer exclusives, Cool, we're just going to do the same debacle that we had last time. What business sense does that make? I mean, here, Nintendo. Supply and demand, guys. It's a basic principle of economics. A lot of people have a demand for these amiibos. A lot of people have a demand for the Nintendo, the Smash Brother controllers adapters, the GameCube adapters. You don't see many of those around anymore. I don't know what happened with that, since there's so many people out there that want to play on the Wii U with a GameCube controller. And Nintendo hyped it up to be this big thing, and are just not delivering on the supply. Because I don't know whether, and I know it's not because they're understaffed as far as like items concerned. They're a big company. I'm pretty sure they have a factory out there that is like that can easily manufacture these Wii U, the Smash Brother controller adapters, the amiibos, all that. They just refuse to do so because they want the supply, the demand to go up so high that people will want it, and then when Nintendo finally releases them like little bit at a time, it's gonna like mean more money for them because the demand is gonna be just so high. Now the problem with that is where it backfires, and where it has backfired on them pretty badly, is that the demand gets so high but the supply is so low that people start to just not care anymore. They just start to like be burned out and give up all hope. They don't want the product anymore. They're over it. They know it's not worth the hassle. These amiibos, I've talked with a lot of people that are big collectors of these things, and even they are like, it's not worth it anymore. Really, this started out as something fun, started out as something interesting. It's just not worth it anymore, because Nintendo has dropped the ball time and time again. So, and another problem with the way they've been handling this amiibo thing is that these retailer exclusive amiibos, the last time they did this, it crashed GameStop's servers. It sold out within minutes at, I think it was Target, Best Buy, and Toys R Us that might have had them. I don't remember. It was, definitely know GameStop and Target had them. I think it was Toys R Us that might have had one, and Best Buy might have had one. But it was like, they just were gone in a matter of minutes. And instead of, like, correctly communicating when these things were going to be available, at what time, Nintendo drops this, like, last-minute stuff on us and says, here, they're going to be available here, these are going to be retailer exclusives, they're available in less than 24 hours. And it doesn't give... you know who I feel bad for in this situation? I don't feel bad for the companies themselves. I feel bad for the people that are scheduled to work the next day when these things are going to be available for pre-order, and they have to deal with the enormous rush that goes along with it. Because it can't be easy dealing with all these people that want this one little toy, and it just sells out in a matter of minutes because neither the retailer nor Nintendo is willing to actively, really set a base time for it and stick with it and give us enough advance notice when these things are going to be available. You know what would be better? A really easy solution is that let people know a month in advance. Let people know a month in advance. Let people know, get a general consensus of how many of these things are people going to want. And then make them for enough people. People want these things. Not only do adults want these, not only for like nostalgic purposes and for their own like gaming purposes, kids want these things. Kids really want amiibos. They are a hot toy for any holiday season they come out. Anytime they come out, kids love these amiibos. And yet, Nintendo completely ignores them in the favor of people that are willing to be on the internet, on its website, at a specific time, at like the right time, because they believe like those are the correct fans of these amiibos, I suppose, because they're not actively doing this. And what's funny to me is that they seem, like I said, they seem oblivious to all of this. Because the day after, I think it was the day after they had that huge fiasco and it sold out and all the servers crashed and people were really angry and upset, they posted a tweet that was like, oh, hey, look, Yoshi was just discovered planting eggs for Easter. What amiibo do you want for Easter? And people just went insane. They got so angry at Nintendo. Because, yeah, I don't blame them. Nintendo was, like, completely oblivious to this fact that they want, like, these amiibos. You know? People want them. People want these things. And yet Nintendo is like, oh, what demand? I don't see any demand here. You don't, Nintendo, you don't see the demand right in front of your faces? Really? Really, guys? Are you... I'd like to think that you're not that ignorant, but because I guess you have people, you have the internet, you can look. But I guess not. I guess apparently they don't look at what people want. They don't look and go, oh, well, maybe people want more Ness amiibos or want more Charizard amiibos. We should make more. Wow. You're dumb. You're really you're dumb. You are really dumb. So also, and people are tired of these amiibos. I hope this dies out really soon. I hope this whole thing implodes and people just don't care anymore. And another bad thing about this whole amiibo thing is the scalpers. And Nintendo is doing jack shit to stop that. Because these scalpers, and I feel bad, especially bad for the parents that have no idea what these amiibos are. And so when their kids ask for an amiibo, the parents are left going, oh, well, let's go out and get an amiibo. Because they think it's going to be right there at their local Target or Best Buy or GameStop or Toys R Us or whatever. But no, then the horrible realization hits them that they need to go onto eBay or Craigslist or Amazon or wherever and spend up to maybe 500% more what they normally would on like the base price getting it from Toys R Us because Nintendo refuses to properly supply retailers with them. So the parents lose out on more money because in order to make their child happy for Christmas. And the scalpers get a lot of money just for taking advantage of all these people. It's a messed up system. You guys, Nintendo, people are not going to stand for this any longer. People are just not going to care. People are just going to be like, well, fuck those amiibos. And fuck you for not supplying us enough for them. It's just that simple. People aren't going to give a crap anymore. It's the way of the world, guys. When you continually screw up on this big a level, people are going to get wise to what happens. And these retailer exclusive amiibos, a lot of people are saying, hey, don't blame GameStop, don't blame Best Buy, blame Nintendo. I know, I agree. Nintendo shares most of the blame here. They deserve to get a lot of the blame for this. But I also blame the retailers a little bit because they're the ones that keep accepting this retailer exclusive stuff. I blame the higher ups at GameStop. I blame the higher ups at Target. I blame the higher ups at Toys R Us. They should know by now what happens when you do this retailer stuff. So yeah, this is partially their fault as well because they accept Nintendo's money, or maybe it's the other way around. They pay Nintendo to get retailer exclusive amiibos, and Nintendo, being the ignorant dumbasses that they are, decide, hey, we're just going to do it again because it worked so well the first time, even though in reality it didn't. It was a disaster. And you made a lot of people angry last week. And from what I've heard, they're going to do it again with the next wave. They're going to be like, hey, as long as retailers want retailer exclusives, we're going to keep doing it. Does it make us look good? We don't care. We're a Nintendo. And my final point on what's been going on with this whole amiibo thing, good God, is this whole I made another video about this, about the creators program that they're trying out on YouTube. Short story, it's been a disaster, just like the Amiibo thing. It's been a disaster. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people are completely against it. Some YouTubers, like PewDiePie, Angry Joe, they're all completely against it. They're even like Angry Joe, and full disclaimer, I am a big Angry Joe fan. So yeah, there's maybe some little bias there. But he made a lot of good points with that video he put up. Like, and a lot of people are saying, like, well, Joe, you should have known better. You should have, you know, you're testing the waters. You should have, it's really not fair that you made a video about that. And, you know, like Angry Joe put it in more explicit terms, Nintendo has every legal right to do what they're doing. They have every legal right to take all of your revenue. They have every legal right to be, to just be so anti-consumer, to not embrace YouTube the way it was meant to be embraced, and to have their own, like, draconian rules with this creators program and people that put up their stuff on YouTube. You know, they have every right to do that. That's not what I'm arguing for. They have every legal right to do that. But should they do that? That's another question. I see a lot of people, especially, so disappointed. The creator of God of War going, hey, they have every right to do so. You know, whatever. If they don't want their shit on YouTube, that's fine by me. But again, this is a case of Nintendo not adapting. They are stuck. They have this mindset that is stuck decades ago. So whether, you know, you can debate till you're blue in the face whether it's, you know, right to do it, but the bottom line is, and this is undeniable, they would benefit so much more if they embraced YouTube. They would benefit so much if they came to, like, big gaming personalities on YouTube with open arms and said, hey, you want to cover our games? Here you go. Free access to all our games. You can put up all your Super Smash Brothers playlists. You can put up all your Mario Kart sessions. People will love it. People want to buy our games. That's how you do this, Nintendo. You do it through word of mouth. You know, big budget marketing only goes so far. Because when you realize that there's a really shady, dark underbelly to the whole thing, you know, people are gonna not be interested. People are just gonna be like, oh, well, you're saying all, I hear you, your mouth moving, but the facts are, you're being anti-consumer. You're not adapting to what people do on YouTube. You're trying to control it through this creators program thing, and it's just not doing you any favors. It's backfiring. And yeah, you're going to get a lot more money from it. That's all they see. They just see the dollar signs. They don't care about goodwill. They don't care about good press. They just care about your money. And yeah, they're a company. Companies, no matter what a company tells you, I don't even care if it's CD Projekt Red, one of their highest priorities is money. But let's contrast CD Projekt Red with Nintendo. CD Projekt Red is smart. They understand that, you know, and they have a really effective ad campaign for The Witcher. No doubt. But how many of you actually think out there that if CD Projekt Red were announcing tomorrow, that we're going to announce tomorrow that, like, all their exclusive content that they previously said before was only going to be available in the collector's edition, or was going to be made like $1.99 each? How many of you would freak out if they did that? How many of you would go, wow, what a fucking asshole, you're stupid, you promised us this and you went back on your word, you're being anti-consumer? How many people would say that? A lot, because they look at the cold, hard facts. I would assume so. You know, and I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging, but I've gone past that stage where I look at a trailer and go, wow, that looks great. I'm just going to buy a game from that trailer alone. You know, no, I look past that. I actually go, I research the game. I look up cold, hard facts. Alright? I look up cold, hard facts. I actually, you know, hey, I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm not going to save money by being dumb and just going, I see trailer. Trailer so good. Trailer, I want the game. you're not going to get anywhere doing that. You're just going to live the rest of your life in a bubble, and you're just going to be unhappy because you're going to keep getting screwed over time and time again. So, you know, and I understand. I really understand what Nintendo's doing. I get it. You know, money makes the world go around. But like I said in my other video, and I'm rambling at this point, I apologize. You know, greed can corrupt you, and Nintendo is corrupted as hell by greed right now. They don't, and a lot of people say, like, their DLC is, like, one of the better stuff. Yeah, that's fine and everything, but, like Angry Joe said, why are they charging people to, like, share an experience that they already paid for? They paid a lot of money on the Wii U, they paid for Super Smash Bros., they paid for Mario Kart, which isn't even on their stupid whitelist of what you can cover. So even if you do want to be on YouTube through this creators program, you know, that's your decision. You can't even do Mario Kart 8. You can't even do Super Smash Bros. Why? Why can't you do Super Smash Bros.? Why can't you do Mario Kart? It's not like they're story-driven games. It's not like people are spoiling anything, putting up playthroughs of Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart. It doesn't mean anything, guys. It's just dumb. It's a really bad decision on their part. I don't know if they have some like grand thing that's going to come out later where you can do Super Smash Brothers and Mario Kart and all that. I don't know whether they're going to add it to the whitelist when they actually release. Oh god. And keep in mind, this creators program is still in beta stage. So this could potentially get, and keep in mind, this could either potentially get better or this could potentially get a lot worse, because once it comes out fully, that's when maybe they might start releasing more draconian ideas. You never know, guys. And this whole thing with like, my final point is like, my final stamp on that point is they need to adapt. They need to embrace YouTube, or they're just gonna die. They're going to die in this digital age. They're gonna be like a fossil that you just look at and go, wow, that was once something really cool. Oh well, and you just walk away from it. It's pretty much what Nintendo is going to become. And all you fanboys out there can like argue with it and be like, oh, don't talk bad about Nintendo. I don't want to hear a negative thing about Nintendo. That's fine. But you're not doing Nintendo any favors by turning a blind eye to what they're doing. All right? You're not doing yourself. You're not only doing yourself any favors, you're not doing Nintendo any favors by being apologists, because maybe all Nintendo sees, and I highly doubt this, maybe all Nintendo sees are these apologists going, good job, Nintendo, your creators program is excellent, we love it. Then maybe that's all they see. They don't see the people that are really, really pissed off by this. I don't know how they can't, because so many people have gone on record to just totally blast this creators content shit. And it's only gotten worse at this point, because you're having big name people like PewDiePie, like Angry Joe, call them out and say, fuck you, Nintendo. We're done. We're not supporting you anymore. So, I don't know what Nintendo's doing. I don't know what plans Nintendo has. I don't know whether or not they really are just that dumb, and whether they're just willing to just be blasted through the internet, and they'll just come out and be like, oh, well, we don't see any of that negativity. We're going to focus on the positive feedback. You know, and that's fine. For you know, focusing on positive feedback is good. It's healthy. It makes you feel good. But when the negativity heavily outweighs the positivity, you kind of have to do yourself a favor and acknowledge a lot of the negative aspects as well. Because it's called self-growth. Alright? And Nintendo really is just stuck at this age where they're just they aren't willing to grow up. They aren't willing to progress. They aren't willing to adapt. And I don't feel sorry for them. I used to feel sorry for them, but now it's just like, you guys are doing this to yourselves, especially within recent weeks what has happened, and I don't pity you anymore. In fact, I really, in a way, I don't normally say this, but I kind of hope you guys suffer a serious financial breakdown and just crash and burn. Because maybe then you'll come back, once you've gotten rid of the people that are screwing over your company, maybe then you'll come back and be like, oh, We learned our lesson. This is what we're going to do now. Lots of supply for the demand. We're going to radically change our stance on like third-party stuff. We're going to have big console exclusives mixed with a large variety of third-party stuff for our fans. We're going to not just focus on the children. We're going to focus on like a larger audience. And we're going to embrace YouTube. We're going to come out and we're going to be like, hey, YouTube, it's Nintendo again. Sorry about our previous relationship. Can we make up? Can we start something cool? Maybe that will happen. Maybe it's a good thing if Nintendo crashes and burns, because then they can come back stronger than ever. It's like a phoenix rising out of the ashes. I don't know. You guys tell me. What should Nintendo do? Because right now, as I've said before, Nintendo, they need a serious reality check. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Even if you disagree with me, please do so in a constructive way. Don't be like, well, fuck you, PS4 fanboy, blah, blah, blah. I've heard it all before, and it doesn't really make you look any better. So, thank you guys for watching. And as always, have a good one.